communication. And we've had to do some critical thinking on some of the projects, and obviously be creative when it comes to thinking what we're doing things. So the 5 C's are big. I think it's very important anytime we can incorporate that into our learning activities. Oh my. So I said, let's add a 6 C, community. Just to me, it makes sense. Okay. All right. And you've heard this before. It takes a community to raise a child. I just put educate. Oh my God. Okay. This is actually an intersection in my hometown of Strasbourg. We have a lot of transportation arteries that go through our town. Route 11, 55, 66, 81. But it's a nice little small community. We're just shy of 7,000 people. All right. These guys are big advocates of place-based education. I'm sure most of you all have heard of them. Okay, Tom Vander Ark, he's big with ASCD. Also, he does a lot of posting on the Getting Smart website. Have y'all heard the Getting Smart website? It's a lot better than the Getting Dumb website. Check it out. It's Getting Smart. Okay, excellent resource. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but yeah, there's a link. And again, this presentation is more, I set up more as a resource than a presentation. It's got a ton of links in it. So that's the value of the presentation, is it's a resource. So a lot of these things will have links. So check them out. Some of them are articles. You'll see one here in a minute that clicks out to a book. But here, Tom Vander Ark, students develop the depth of knowledge, skills, and dispositions to engage as effective change agents in a place, local, regional, national, global. One advantage of place-based education. And David Sobel, creates a heightened commitment to serving as active, contributing citizens. Giving back to the communities in my blood, because my dad was the president of the local Little League chapter. He was in the Lions Club. He was on the town council with my mom. We were the first husband and wife town council members in the town of Strasbourg. My mom was on the board of supervisors. We were involved in our church, so we were always just giving back. That's the way I was raised. Me and my 4 sisters. I have 4 sisters and no brothers. That's another story. So I know we just give back. That's the way we were raised. But we're also close to family. We took care of ourselves there. So again, it's just an opportunity. Anytime we can get people involved in their community, it's just a win-win. Big fan of Jay McTighe. I'm sure a lot of you all have heard of him. There's a book that he did, Designing Authentic Performance Tasks and Projects. And there's also a nice article there, Assessing Deeper Learning After a Year of Change. So it's real applicable now. I like this GRAPS framework. Have you heard of that before? Awesome. Yes, good. The rest of y'all learned something new. Oh, real world goal. A meaningful role for the students. So the students play a role, wherever it may be. An authentic audience. As you well know, obviously, anytime students are creating something and the audience is broader, it motivates them. A lot more than just, I'm just the teacher's the only one that's going to see it. If their peers see it, community sees it, et cetera, it just naturally motivates students. It's a contextualized situation that involves real world applications. Student generated, culminating in either product or performance, and you'll see examples of these. Then success criteria by which student products and performances will be evaluated. Rubrics are great to a degree, but I think sometimes they can box students in a little bit. I've seen rubrics where they got to give a presentation, must be 5 slides. You got to have 3 images, 2 videos. To me, that boxes kids in. I'm a fan more of the single point rubric. Jennifer Gonzalez, that links up to that article. The basis is what you have to kind of get done. I like to leave it more open because I think it leads to more creativity and fresh ideas coming out of students. So really, to me, though, the less structure sometimes, the better off you are as to what you can get your students to do. All right. I'm not afraid to try, but anyway, there's a link to a Padlet wall. And just kind of think about, share your most memorable K-12 learning experience. If you click on that and get to it, you just want to just put a little post on what your most memorable learning experience could be from K-12. Has anyone willing to kind of shout out an example for me? One that kind of sticks out? Just give me at least 2. Yes, ma'am.
Entering a writing competition in my community in 4th grade.
Okay, how did it go? Did you do well?
I did.
Did you win the thing? That's great. Every time you win, you win. That's great. Good job. 4th grade. What did you write about?
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. Good job. Yes, ma'am.
But we had to each research a state and make a presentation, and then you had to dress up as somebody from the state, and they had an entire like fair of all the kids dressed up. That was in 5th grade.
What grade, I mean, what state?
I did Kentucky and I was Diane Sawyer. I had like a Good Morning
Oh,
America
that's
mug
cool.
and everything.
Whoa.
That's cool. On this side of the room. Uh-oh. Well,
I
one
would
from
say
this side.
it's like a personal experience, but I recall like my nephew doing like the historical wax museum,
Oh, yeah, okay.
where they had to research a historical figure and then they had to be that figure, like somebody would come by and press a button and they would do their spiel
Right,
and they would do that for like an hour.
right.
But all of the lower grades came to the upper grades and they got to be part of the experience as well.
And by putting on that panel, well, you kind of see what some other people put. For example, my girls, mine are 26 and 24 now. They did well in school and they learned well from their core classes. But the thing that I really saw from my girls that really, I think, separated what led to what they're doing now and successful things they've done as young as they are, is my oldest one was an FFA. Okay, she was the president of the local chapter in her high school, public speaking. She got to dig into soil and get her hands dirty. She got to look at cows and figure out what makes a good part of it to eat or whatever. I mean, just stuff that's, tied to real world stuff. In other words, so she was engaged these things outside of the school time to a degree. Sometimes I go during the day. My youngest daughter was an FCCLA, career leader. She was the national president. Awesome opportunity for her. She missed 70 days of school her senior year because she was out she was speaking to 8,000 people at conferences and great learning experience. They got these real world, authentic audience experiences by those extracurricular things. I think we need to make sure we try to put more of those extracurricular things in regular curricular things. That's kind of opportunity. It's challenging, but it can be done. It needs to be done. It's something you just got to do what's best for kids. And I think you hear, if you look at some of these learning experiences, you kind of see that a lot of times they involve authentic people, et cetera. All right, advance on our advice on implementing authentic tasks and projects. Think big. You can start small. I think big a lot. I get a little too crazy sometimes, and you'll show some here at the end. Then I try to start small. My wife's good about that. Like, just freaking slow down a little bit. Start a little small. Try to work smart, and you can go for an early win. And I tell people it's simple. For example, I think about like word problems you get in math. And other times I may say, Mr. Jones, put the mayor's name in there, or put some, tie someone with the local community. Someone in the community, something's happening. So just anytime you have an opportunity to throw in even a name of someone like that, way they know who the mayor of the town is, okay, or this person does this, or whatever. So just think about I call that low-hanging fruit. Anytime you just tie in something local that's happening in your community, a writing prompt, okay? Just kind of do that, because I know one thing, unfortunately, most families probably don't sit down and eat dinner as much as they should in the evening. A lot of times when it comes to adults, they usually talk about what's happening in the local community. We just did tax reassessments to channel, and I guarantee that's what mom and dad are talking about. So if you can do something within the classroom where the students are also having discussions about those same topics, when they go back on the dinner table, and imagine mom and dad bringing up tax reassessment, all of a sudden little Johnny goes, oh yeah, I understand it may raise the tax rates or lower the tax rates. And probably parents will blow their minds or whatever, choke with their mashed potatoes, but that's okay. They get the kid involved, okay? So the more you can put the local community within the student, then they have a better chance just to have good conversations even at home. Peggy Dunstan. Now, I know Rich knows Peggy. He's in my county here. Teaches Spanish at one of our local high schools. Teacher of the year in our school division probably 3 years ago, maybe. Okay, unbelievable educator, unbelievable. She just received a Fulbright scholarship. He's going to be going to all kinds of places. She's currently taking a course. She's taking a course, and she reached out to me and one of my ITRCs. And she goes, I'm taking this course right now, Tim. And he talked about this place-based learning. And I went, yeah, place-based learning. I said, that's exactly what I'm into. So anyway, she started looking at this. And again, teacher of the year, 20-some years, outstanding educator, great relationships with the kids. But after just starting this course, this is what she said. Okay, she said the light bulb went off. after all those years. We're talking about 150 watt. Okay. She was doing all this great stuff, but it never really tied back to community. Okay, and this is what she sent me this, and I'm about past that. It's like, this is awesome. This is what we're talking about. Okay, and she's doing, matter of fact, she just sent me something this morning, this presentation about the local history in our county. It's just amazing. I hope this will come up. I don't know. It's a little weak, but anyway, one thing it did come up. The technology gods are smiling. All right, there we go. All right, so anyway, part of the Fulbright program she's in, she's connected with a high school out in Los Angeles. She connected with the French teacher. She teaches Spanish. This is a paddle wall we worked on together. I don't know between French and Spanish much there, but there it is. And basically did a paddle wall on geography, music, song, literature, and food. So students are exchanging about the geography of Los Angeles compared to Chandler County, and what their music they like, their literature they like, and the food that they like. So they got this communication going on. How many people have used Padlet before? All right, I blew her mind when I went over there. I hit the plus sign. I said, check out these 3 dots over here, Peggy, because she wanted to do video and audio. And she was going to say, well, what can I use this at? I said, do it all in Padlet. Because in other words, the kids can click, record audio, they can speak French, their kids can speak Spanish, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, do little video clips, just multimedia rich experience. So cool. All right, and this is the term she got from her class, global. Okay, so you have this big global level, all right? And it can go down to the nation, state, and town. And really, there's a lot of connections between your local town level, can be city, whatever, county, whatever you want to put there, to actual global type situations. And the thing that she'd never heard of, and totally surprised me, she'd never heard of these UN sustainability goals before. How many people have used these? All right, this is a great resource. Okay, in the presentation, the link's live. All you can do is click on that image. But these were developed, these were 17 goals that were brought up by the UN. When you click on each one of those little icons, when you get to the website, it goes to a lot of resources about these topics: no poverty, reduce inequities, life on land, life below water, etc. And what she's doing is she actually got big poster printers in her high school. She actually printed this out in English, and she also printed it out in Spanish. But she's using these UN goals, but they're taking it and looking at the local level, how a lot of these things also need to be addressed. Okay, so again, from the global level, UN, down to the local level. So this, when she saw this resource, she really thought, wow, she was surprised she never heard of it before. All right, now I'm not going to go through all these, but this again, like I said, the presentation is more of a resource than a presentation tool. These are some of the best articles that I found on place-based education. Most of them are fairly short, so it's not like it's going to take you forever to go through them, but these give you some good ideas, okay, of how you can do some place-based learning, little tips and tricks, etc. Again, think globally, teach locally. Actually, the first one there, the SDGs, bless you. Promise of Place is a great website. Getting Smart. I love Edutopia. They've got a lot of great topics as well. It's a lot of great resources here you can check out. All right, ideas and resources. I mean, it's pretty much common sense. Okay, when it comes to sources in your community, a lot of things on the left. The big key is having relationships with people. Okay, the advantage I have in my community is I work for the school division. I'm the president of the Strasbourg Heritage Association. So in other words, that's our historical group in town. So I've got that connection right there. That helps. I'm also now on the board of supervisors. I used to be the mayor for 8 years. So in other words, I've got a lot of connections and relationships built up. So the key is you just got to find out who those people are that are in those various roles. I happen to be on the Strasbourg Museum board, so that gives me a connection to the Strasbourg Museum. So I've got connections to the different groups within the community, which makes it a whole lot easier when it comes to doing these projects. So the thing is, you got to identify. Now, one person came around to the point about, well, I'm in a very large area in Northern Virginia. It's kind of hard. I said, well, I remember my daughter, because both my daughters lived in DC for a few years, and my oldest daughter said where she lived in Washington, DC, it reminded her a lot of Strasbourg, less than 7,000 people. I said, there is no way It's worse than DC, can remind you of Strasbourg, but she had a community within a community. And she goes, I got a favorite grocery store, Trader Joe's. I got this group here, my favorite restaurants here, and she knew the people within her little sub-community. And she knew, and there was a historical group she pointed out to me. So in other words, you might be a sub-community within a larger community, but there's local communities you can reach out to. But just, there's various resources here, and some of the things listed there in these sources, I'll point out some of the examples, but we're very fortunate. We have a railroad system that comes through our county. It's not being used. They're looking at purchasing that and putting a trail system through there. Great learning opportunity for our students. Okay, I'm sitting on that committee right now to make sure we have a voice when it comes to that Rails to Trails project. Products, again, we're here at the technology conference. There's so many things you can do when it comes to technology products. Also, don't forget you can do all I call unplugged things, like you've heard of unplugged computer science activities. So there's other things too that even involve technology. There's a lot of it you can obviously do with so many great tools. Tech tools there, I put involve ITRCs because I'm actually doing this presentation tomorrow at the BASCD conference in Williamsburg. So I'm going to try to emphasize the importance. We call them ITRCs, Instructional Technology Resource Coaches in our school division. I know they have different acronyms. It was pointed out this morning. But, involve those. That's one kind of point I'm going to make tomorrow when I present. But there's a lot of different tech tools you can use. I hope you all have Adobe Spark set up in your school divisions, totally free, awesome tool. Easy Travel, you've heard of Easy Travel before. All right, that's the one I'm gonna blow your mind here in a minute. It'd be gray matter everywhere. Anchor FM, right? Podcasts, okay. StoryCorps, if you'd heard the Great Thanksgiving Listen. No, yeah, all right, great. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Great Thanksgiving Listen. That's second. All right, StoryCorps is free resource. It always comes out in October. There's a little free app, the StoryCorps. It's called the Great Thanksgiving Listen. And what it does is it says, okay, they realize families going to get together probably for Thanksgiving. Of course, it's been a little different the last couple of years. But when you have those family members together, you've got to capture their stories. So when Uncle Joe or grandfather or whatever, all you do is you bring the app onto your phone and you just come up there and hit record. It gives us some questions you can ask them. You've got to capture the stories of your loved ones or friends or whatever. Okay, it's very, very important. We've been doing an oral history project in Strasbourg forever. We try to capture stories of people that know a lot about the history of the community. They used to call me the Grim Reaper because when I would come up and ask them for an interview, they said, oh God, I must be dying soon. Because Tim's coming to get my dad going to get an oral history interview with him. And I have captured some and they have passed. As a matter of fact, I've had 3 people that when their loved ones passed, they said, hey, I know you interviewed my dad, you interviewed my mom. I'd love to have that. And we've been putting some out on podcasts. And I'll show you a little bit of an example of that in a minute. But we're categorizing those, transcribing them, et cetera. We got our own little local history project going on with oral histories. Okay, so very, very valuable. I remember I captured my mom and dad's story back in 2005. And of course, I was raised in a generation, they didn't share a lot of personal stories. Okay, like my dad told me that my mom and dad got married. My mom and dad met in person in September. They got married on Christmas Day. Okay, my dad hit a bridge above and kissed my mom on the way to their honeymoon. Lucky no one was hurt. They came on back, got the car fixed, and went off on their honeymoon to Williamsburg. Never heard any of that until I was in my 50s. Okay, because they just didn't share that stuff, So it's really cool hearing about all the stories and everything. They got introduced actually by writing letters when my dad was stationed in Germany during the Korean War. So cool stuff. Bless you. Canva for education. You'll have those accounts set up. Awesome tool. Okay, so there's plenty of tools and stuff. All right, so let's look at some examples of things we're doing. And again, I put that reminder, I'm a supervisor for technology because most of them are technology driven. Again, that's more for tomorrow at BASCD than for you folks. All right, we did an oral history project. Again, I'm not sure if the internet's going to help us out here or not. But we actually had 5 citizens from our Strasbourg community come and talk to 5th graders. I worked with a librarian down there at a local elementary school. And it was amazing to me. They gave them actually, they had 40 minutes, I guess it was. And I was kind of concerned about when these 5 people came in, how the 5th graders would handle sitting there for 40 minutes. But they totally shocked me. They sat there, they were mesmerized, every one that we brought in. And what it was is the students took pictures of the people when they were there and also videotaped when they were there. One woman came in and talked about the day the school burned down. Well, the school caught on fire. Of course, you've heard back in there, some kids, I wish the school would burn down. They're about going, there's some kids that say something like that. Well, this time the school actually caught on fire. And so she shared pictures and the stories about what had happened. Another lady came in and talked about just the way things were in Strasbourg back in the 1940s. She had pictures and it just blew some of the kids' minds. This one right here, one of the students, what they did is they did an Adobe Spark page, but they decided to go ahead and check out about Miss Marie Spence. Now, Marie passed away about 14 months ago. She came in and told about her father and her uncle. Okay, they were both, one was in, they were two different branches of the military, but they were both sent to Normandy for D-Day. Now, if you don't remember the history or not, remember the weather was bad, so they postponed it for so many days. So they both got a pass, believe it or not, to go in, I don't know if it was London or whatever, but anyway, they both got a pass, ended up in the exact same city in Europe, didn't realize it. They go to a bar and lo and behold, there they are having a drink together. So they went ahead and took a picture, okay, and had it sent back to their mom, had it printed, sent like that, sent off to the mom. Well, unfortunately, Marie's uncle was killed, okay, on D-Day. Obviously, her father lived. So what it was is she actually got the Purple Heart that was given to her uncle, okay, and she brought that in to let the students see. And man, it just blew their minds. They got a chance. It was like they were holding an egg when they were passing that thing around. So she told that story. The kids were just mesmerized by it all. So this student, you know, we said, okay, these 5 people came in. I want you to go ahead and just write a little synopsis and which one impressed you the most. So she just did want to hear about Marie. And of course, with Spark, as you know, he linked various pictures from the program, put a little bit of a video clip, really cool stuff. So that's an example. One thing we did, we brought people into the community and the students a lot did great. All right, Strasbourg is a haunted town. For some reason, we have a lot of ghost stories. Kind of stumbled upon them, just went around talking to people and everything. This is where the Easy Travel app comes in. All right, I visited the Department of Historic Resources in Virginia for a project that was going on, and they talked about this Easy Travel app they were going to use for a project they were doing. I said, man, this thing's pretty cool, totally free. What you can do is you can set up these tours, okay, and make it multimedia rich. You can also do like museum tours where you like do tours of displays if you want to. That's kind of the next thing that's kind of on the radar a little bit. But anyway, we've done these ghost tours in Strasbourg. The way we usually do them is we get students from the high school. It's usually a family career, again, the FCCLA chapter. What we do is we station storytellers around town. It's usually in a close proximity. We kind of get it at its walkable distance. And people will come and they'll pay a little bit, get a ticket. And what we do is the high school students will take groups of people up to 15 to 20 and walk them to each storyteller. Okay, and they'll tell the ghost story. And we usually do it from like 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We leave every 15 minutes. Been well received, again, sharing stories, etc. Then the pandemic hit. So it's like, okay, someone said, but it'd be nice still to have ghost tours. I said, well, we can't do them in person. So it's like, okay, the Easy Travel app. So what we did is we put it together using Easy Travel. So we asked the students at Strasbourg High School, Miss Sharon White teaches an intro to theater course and also teaches English 11. We went ahead and sent the ghost stories and we said, hey, students, you can tweak them if you want, kind of make them your own. Don't change what the story's about. But then we also want you to record your voices because in this app, you can actually, people can listen to the ghost story and you can make like, a little short video if you want, etc. So if you click on this actual image sharing, it will take you out to the actual page that shows it. And so this is what it looks like on the website. It puts it on a Google map, etc. But what's nice is if you have the app on your phone and you turn your location on, you look at the map, and once you walk to the location, get within close proximity, boom, the information pops up. So right there, you can listen to the story. Cool thing happened the first year we did this about 8 years ago. There's a cool ghost story in the hotel we have called Hotel Strasbourg. Unfortunately, it's closed right now, but that's where our tour was actually starting. So we had a bunch of people there coming in, getting their tickets. The groups were leaving from there. And a couple came up and said, what's all these people around here for? It's So I said, hey, we're doing these ghost tours. They go, cool, we came here for the weekend visiting. We'd like to go ahead and join in. So they go ahead and buy a ticket, get on the tour. And the first ghost story is the actual Hotel Strasbourg. The ghost resides in room 210. What room they were staying in? Room 210. They went, oh my God. I said, y'all gonna be all right? Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I mean, they actually were staying in room 210. It was really, I mean, we're talking about a woman walking through the walls, and it was unbelievable. All right, but again, and this is not gonna work, but I'm gonna try anyway because I'm just a sucker for punishment. All right, so in other words, here you open it up and again, it's way on the phone, but see, here you'll click and you'll hear the student giving the summary, telling the story. We asked one girl who's an intro to theater. This is a miracle. Let's spin some. Get ready for the Godzilla effect. But just you can see her, but she dressed up as a witch, and you can't hear her because my voice is tall. But she tells about the tour. But again, I just said, hey, I need you to tell about this ghost tour. And she did the whole light effect, dressed up as a witch, and she's great. She actually played Morticia in the Addams Family plays. That's the reason I picked her. I said, you'll be perfect for this. So again, here they are. So all these students did all the recordings. They got a chance to practice their skills, when it comes to kind of telling a creepy ghost story, etc. Again, do it via your phone or just go to the website to check it out. So that's what we did a couple of years ago for our ghost tour. And again, right there, you click on it, you can check it out. Easy travel site, totally free. It made for great PR. Okay, here's this little girl's dressed up as a witch. She's holding the phone. You see the app there. Okay, well, that's the hotel right there. The scary ghost is on the second floor, far right. Norgene Daily, it's our local newspaper. I actually did 2 articles on it. Okay, we also have a monthly paper called the Mountain Courier. Okay. And really, the ghost tours in the upper left-hand corner, if you can see it or not, there's an antebellum dress there showing up in the upper left. There's one guy that has headless ghosts he sees. Okay, antebellum clothing. Wow. He said he's never believed in this stuff, but he obviously believes it, believes him now. But the interesting thing there, that's actually Signal Knob. That's one of our schools in Shenandoah County as well. I talked about going down to Virginia Department of Historic Resources and learning about that Easy Travel app. When we were down there, they said, hey, you got those roadway markers, historical markers you see. It's got the silver, usually black lettering. They said, we want to try to do a project because there's some places where those signs are, they're on the road, but there's not a safe place to pull off. So we really like to be able to have an app where people can actually be driving and they have the location set on their phone. As they drive past these roadway markers, then an audio file will pop up and actually read the sign to you. I said, it's a good idea to do audio, not video, because obviously you're like driving and watching the video. So anyway, I said, well, that's cool. I said, well, who's going to do the recordings? They said, well, we're actually looking for some schools. Maybe have some students go ahead and read the sign, the scripts and everything like that. I said, all right. I said, you're talking to the right guy. Yeah. I said, so anyway, we went ahead and said, look, we got these middle school students. We'd be happy to help with this project. So we actually bust them down to a radio station in Harrisonburg and use our recording studio. So the kids were able to go ahead and read, the transcripts from these different roadway markers. So you go to Virginia Department of Historic Resources and look at the I-81 stories. You hear a lot of our kids telling those stories. So great opportunity. They got a chance to practice their oral presentation, whatever, reading. Some of them were scared to death, but great learning experience. And that's me that actually did a TV thing. I'm describing the ghost was about this tall. But they even did a TV clip on it. So good PR stuff. And the kids were involved in that too. All right, so we come to this year. The way the Heritage Association usually works is we usually do like a ghost tour one year, then we do a holiday homes tour the next year. People go and visit homes decorated for the holidays. For some reason, my committee for the holiday homes tour says, well, the COVID thing going on, we don't think we're gonna get enough people. Why don't you just go and do another ghost tour, Timmy? I'm like, gosh darn it. I said, I was supposed to have a year off this year. I said, all right. So me and a friend of mine are having breakfast. He goes, you got to do a living ghost tour. I go, a living ghost tour? He goes, yeah. He goes, think about people from our history. They come back from the dead as ghosts and they share their stories. I said, that's an awesome idea. So I need these people to play ghosts, living ghosts. So who do I reach out to? The intro to theater teacher and her students. Perfect acting opportunity. So what we did is, again, we had the same format as before. We had one central location where the ghosts start from, the people start from. We had ghosts throughout the community. And what they are, they're historical figures from Strasbourg telling about their story, what they contributed to Strasbourg. This was the flyer we sent out. And so what do they look like? Oh, there we go. So here they are dead. I mean, they did the whole makeup, you know, they're all pale and all that stuff. Okay, these are different characters. It rained like cats and dogs that night. I mean, you can't control that. We still had 67 people show up, which was pretty amazing. We usually get 150 to 200. We'll take 67, but the weather was nasty. I don't know if I would even come out during that. The kids did great. And so the one on the left there, that's Preston Crawford. Her family actually donated the building, became the Strasbourg Community Library. She told a story about that. Okay, the guy in the middle here, he actually ran a toll booth in Strasbourg back in the early 1800s. That is a girl dressed as a man, okay, and she represented a fire captain we had that oversaw our fire department. So that was cool. The kids did a great job learning their skits. These are the Fisher's Hill ladies. They were just discovered, kind of lost in history. But two of them were prominent painters, and the other one was a novelist. And so they came back and told their story. And that's the founder of Strasbourg, Peter Stover, on the right. He's the one that founded the town. So in other words, he's the other one to share the story and everything. So the kids learned about their community because they were telling stories about it. They got a chance to act. They got a chance, again, we told them to basically, we gave them kind of a script. They were able to make it their own. There's another student, and of course, some of our citizens, they just love the whole thing too. We always have these groups of witches every year that say, we want to walk around town and promote the tour. So they just walk around and say, go get a ghost tour ticket or whatever. I'm not sure if that baby is hanging off. It kind of scared me when I was going, bring people in or not. But they always end up at the local brewery after the tour's over. I think that's one of the reasons they do it. All right, we have murals in town. Perfect learning opportunity. So who we reach out to? The art teacher. Easy travel app, perfect. In other words, there's a website that kind of goes over who the artists were of these murals. I said, hey, what do we do with the students? She goes, well, one thing we can do is I can have my students actually go to the murals, whatever, and share their interpretation of what the mural means to them. So what they do is right now, we're actually involved with this right now. Students from our art club are actually recording MP3 files, telling a little bit about the mural, but then sharing their thoughts about the mural, like interpretation. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw it in the Easy Travel app. Okay, so people then walk around Strasbourg. Once they get to the mural, boom, it pops up, put in text information. They can actually hear it if they want to, see extra pictures if they want to, pictures of the artists, etc. So great informational. So you got a tour going around Strasbourg, and the art students get a chance to be part of all that. The thing is, with the Easy Travel app, you're supposed to be 18 to have an account. And that's the thing I point out. So that's not the important thing here. It's not the Easy Travel app. It's the content that goes into it. That's where the kids come in. I mean, anyone could easily just slap in. It's so easy to use. Just pull in an MP3 file, pull in an image, put a link to a video. I said the whole power of the Easy Travel app is the content that the students get a chance to provide. So teacher make the account, students provide the content, you just put it in place. All right, the other thing, again, we wanted to do is this. The Heritage Association usually puts out anywhere from 3 to 4 newsletters a year. We have a great person that writes articles for our newsletter. She does a great job of doing folk stories of history throughout our community. So we've got a lot of archived newsletters with great stories about our Strasbourg community. And so what we want to do is we started a podcast channel, and we said, hey, we want some students to go back into our archives and just share the different folk history stories, okay, of our community. So that's what we did. So we went and started a podcast channel, and we have different students. Then what they'll do is, again, they'll record an MP3 file, send it up, we post it up on our podcast channel. So we have local students providing stories, and then we remind them, hey, you can go to our website and look at all the different newsletter archives. All right, so again, local students being involved, sharing their stories there. And then what we'll eventually get to do, once we get out of the pandemic, we actually have podcasting equipment in all of our high schools. We then want the students to be able to go and do interviews, et cetera, around the community whenever we have events coming up. That's the next step we want to do. All right, another thing that was done here is Mr. Wilburn's favorite Spark. This was a project back in 2019. We'll see if it works. We use Padlet and Adobe Spark for this one. Well, the internet's being kind. Thank you so much. This year with our fifth grade students, instead of bringing people in where they were listening to them, we said, all right, this is a chance for you to tell your own story. In other words, tell something about that you've experienced, whatever in the community, or that you've had to participate in that meant a lot to you. So we got all kinds of different topics here. But what's nice is this librarian, Mr. Wilbur, he shared the links out to the Padlets that the kids made, and then turned on comments there on the Padlet wall. So actually people were able to view them and then give feedback to the students. For example, one here, this girl here, she talked about showing sheep at the fair. So she put this Spark page together. Okay, and all kinds of cute little sheepy, and it talks about this. It has to get up at 5:30 in the morning to take care of the sheep. So I guess she got a chance to share her story. So it was really interesting to see what the kids were really interested in. One girl talked about sleepovers. One time she went to the sleepover and forgot to ask permission from mom. So she kind of shared about, I got to make sure I ask permission in the future, and all that good stuff. So great way, again, Adobe Spark, very simple, got a chance for them to share their own stories. Got a chance, again, they had a larger audience. Okay, so that inspired them and motivated them. It wasn't just the teacher was going to see them. Put it out there for different people there at the school and their parents. They had a chance to go ahead and give feedback to the students. So that's another one we did there. Google Earth's a great tool to do, the project tool. Excellent way of knowing local history, local community. Okay, it's just a perfect tool. We'll try to tie that one in more. Again, I'm showing you a lot of tools, but again, it's all about the content. People use Book Creator. Okay, great free tool. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe with a free account, you can do 40 books, but you can't collaborate on a book. If you buy the paid version, you can actually have your students collaborate on a book. So you can imagine, okay, how you can very easily create a book and you can have different chapters, etc. Because of time, whatever. For example, they're in the examples link there. If you click on examples, there was one school that did inspirational women. And so what it is, everyone chose a woman. And you imagine if you did that like within your community, or you can do it globally, whatever, but every student identifies. And of course, with Book Creator, you can put in videos, you can do audio. I mean, it's just multimedia rich. So you have, a different, students have a choice about how they want to present it. Is it going to be text? Is it going to be audio? Does it call video? So you get a lot of different type of modalities that you can use when it comes to sharing it. So again, you click on examples, we'll take you there. So we're running out of time. I've never heard of ICANN solutions until I started on. Have everybody heard of these before? Okay. Go to the website, and I don't know if I can be able to get there or not, but it's pretty cool. What it is, you can download these free posters, but like it says, the ICANN solutions aims at identifying the most common and diverse areas of change and bringing together all the innovative and creative solutions that students from around the world came up with to solve these challenges. So you have ICANN solutions for assisted living, okay, clean environment, inclusion, caring for animals, tackling bullying. And again, it just takes too long to open one of these posters up, but they're free. But on those posters, it actually has like various comments from students. It actually gives links to the solutions they came up with, but then it challenges other students with other questions like, what can you do? Or we have this issue. So it gives links to solution examples, but also then tasks the students to come up with their own solution. But again, here's a classic example. These are kind of like worldwide topics, can be very applicable in their own community. And the examples shared on the posters actually show what the people did in their local area, okay, as much as global. So great little resource. I've never heard of them before. I got it from some articles there, so pretty cool, called ICANN Solutions. All right, this is kind of a reverse thing. We had a project in 1819 where I get sitting on middle school. They did a local history project, and they had a bunch of people come in and share their expertise. And one of the presenters that came into the school was Marquita Mitchell. And she talked about when she used to attend the all-colored school, it was called Sunset Hill, and then she was there whenever desegregation occurred. So she talked about that, okay, about the old school in Strasbourg, et cetera. And the students were really intrigued. As part of that project, what Singer and I decided to do is like, look, let's listen to the different people coming in and sharing stories, but let's pick one project that we want to submit to the Department of Virginia Historic Resources for a roadway marker. So we actually had the students submit an application, or that was the goal of it. So it's like, which one do you really want to work on? So the students said, we really like this story about Miss Mitchell talking about this school that she went to. So anyway, the effect was awesome because Marquita got fired up. So she went ahead and started contacting people that went to Sunset Hill work with her, and she started an alumni association. So all of a sudden they were working with the students and they ended up submitting an application, and bingo, they were accepted. So we had this big celebration in town. The roadway marker was put up right where the current school is. It's actually still owned by a private citizen. It's just full of storage stuff right now. But we had a big celebration in town. Again, this is during COVID time. I had about 100 people that came. We had a local senator come and speak. Okay, our state superintendent was there speaking. And the Sunset Hill School was probably about, I want to say, half a mile from where we had the event downtown Strasbourg. These students never got a chance to ride a public school bus. So our state superintendent got a school bus driver and a public bus and actually bus all the alumni from the event up to the school. So the first time they got a chance to ride an actual public school bus. So some people were actually crying whenever they showed up there at the actual event. So there's two of the alumni unveiling the roadway marker. And we had the Strasbourg Heritage Association and the Strasbourg Museum. We helped pay for the sign, along with their alumni association. And the town of Strasbourg installed it for free because you got to pay for it even if you get recognized for it. So great example how the community group got inspired by what was happening with the schools. And where are we up to now? Scary. All right. What's awesome is Shannon County turns 250 years old next year. Wow, learning opportunities up in the zoo. We're already talking to people. It's like, we got to do this. We're starting to get some good ideas rolling. We throw down the form to teachers to see if you're interested in. So we reached out to some. We've already got some ideas brewing, but we got to be involved with that. I mean, what an opportunity, FCCLA, I met her. I know her well because my daughter, as I mentioned, was national president. She ran to me somewhere. She wanted to do like a project because a local neighborhood, another school division close to us, they did a neat project where they would go around and clean the tombstones of veterans. They reached out to the community, and they started sending donations. The students did research on what's the best chemicals to use on tombstones. It's not just soap and water. So you got to have that learning experience. And won a national award for FCCLA. She didn't want to be a copycat, but she wanted to do something along that line because she knew I was into ghosts and cemeteries and all this stuff. So anyway, I said, what kind of a learning opportunity can we have? And I remember we actually did one year, we did a graveyard tour instead of a ghost tour. And one thing in one of our cemeteries, we have two cemeteries in town. One of them, we noticed that there was a lot of tombstones from 1918 and mostly younger people, which meant it was a result probably of the Spanish flu. So we said, all right, there's our connection. So we have Spanish flu, our current pandemic situation. So that's what she's working on now. She's working out, say, okay, how can we do this project? Their goal right now is they want to try to identify as many people in the cemetery that died as a result of the Spanish flu. So they're going to start looking at records, but then doing comparisons between what happened during that time and what's currently happening now. And she already found some links to like old newspapers about how they actually shut down the courthouse, just like happening now. And so all those ties, so she started got her mind rolling. So it's in its infancy, we're talking, but she wants to tie it in to the 2022 anniversary. So that's one thing we're talking about. The last thing then is I actually sent an email to our Strasbourg High School choral and strings director. How many people have seen Hamilton? Okay, I read the book first, and so I'm glad I did. And my daughter said, hey, you got to watch this, Dad. Watch these turn the subtitles on so I can understand what they were kind of saying. But it's like, hey, this is cool. I can relate to the book, whatever. But we have this little story of Strasbourg book. It's got some pretty interesting stories. It talks about one time there was an actual Indian massacre with a family, and they opened up the family Bible. They put coals on it in order to burn it. Okay, and burned the house down, but they also killed the cat. And they threw the cat on top of the Bible and it smothered out the coal or whatever they put on the Bible. We have that in our museum. So you can actually almost see the charred pages, etc. That's one story that's in our story of Strasbourg. It talks about how we do pottery and all the history. I said, wouldn't it be cool if you all could kind of like do a little play like Hamilton about the story of Strasbourg? I've not heard back from him. He probably passed out. So, that's the thinking big thing. So you have to do the whole thing, but maybe just pick one chapter and do like a little one-act play thing or something. So just Again, learning opportunities, that's what you just gotta throw them out there. And some people may be foolish enough to bite on it and do it. But you just gotta throw out ideas is what it boils down. So there's just so many opportunities. And I know we're getting awful close. This is just some concepts and tips to understand. The big thing, remember, it's in giving that we receive. Give back to your community, because when you give back, that's when you're gonna receive. It's simple. It's the way life is. What learning opportunities you have in your own community, again, that's just a pad that you just like, okay, man, hopefully your mind's turning. You can kind of jot down there some ideas what you can do in your own community. Let's get our mojo back, people. Okay. This whole pandemic thing, I mean, I know it's been challenging for everybody and all that, but we got to get out of the funk. In other words, to me, some of us are in Eeyore mode. It's just, you got to break out of it. And then sometimes just like, I know it's tougher like that, but we got to forge ahead. And so I know that we're missing where we had an awful lot of opportunities to learn in our community because we were out of our schools. We got to start doing these projects and things. Again, you talk about that learning loss. I'm so glad he mentioned that in the morning session. There's a lot of learning opportunities out there because they've learned a lot of new skills our students have, especially with technology. So imagine they can do a lot of these projects and everything. So I firmly believe that learning does not have to happen within the school building, and it can happen later after 3 o'clock. And a lot of these type projects can go into any time of the evening, et cetera. So, get your mojo back and get them out there doing these things. There's the credits for the slides. Thank you very much. 12, crap, 2 minutes over. I'm